I'm Seamus. Thank you so much for coming.
You've got a great cause worth fighting. I couldn't wait to get here. That said, I expected more people.
So far, there's only the two of us.
But we're highly motivated.
Well, it's a start.
Some people I knew already were dear friends of mine, like themselves, and just my stupid opinion.
Lots of interesting things. This is absolutely abominable, and the RCMP are really taking the shit here, and they know it.
Hi, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. But I think it's time. I needed to speak out.
The following program is brought to you in living.
Watch it on TV, horror movie, or you shut it off. We can't shut this off. Every time we close your eyes, the horror movie turns on. So I know for myself, I close my eyes, go try to fish, my parents being shot.
Trying to piece together story.
Let's have a look at this. I'm going to pause it really quietly, and I'm going to try not to lose my shit because I get really angry. Really. I'm getting really pissed now. I'll preface this by saying I'm strongly urging all of the victims in this, the victims' families, against the RCMP, and I just love the RCMP discovery. I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure a lawyer will too.
Police and their stories. Stories of their lives filled with hazard, romance, and adventure. The RCMP story this week. Gunslinger.
My goodness, how many windows do I have open? Howdy. How's everybody? Okay, what day is it today? Even. Dinner time, Friday night. Okay, interesting. Sorry, some days I lose track of the day. How's everybody doing? All right, who do we have in here? We've got Blue Nose. They got sound. Blue Nose. We've got Lynn, Mark Evans, Linda. Caught alive. Did you catch alive? Nosy Scotian. Howdy. We've got not wearing undies today. I'm going to touch that one. Is there an echo? There should not be an echo. Hopefully there's no echo anymore. Bush baby. Somebody can let me know. That would be great. Cindy. Awesome. Michael Juba. Have to watch later. All right. Have a good one. Echo. Yes. Uh-oh. Okay. My apologies. My apologies. Sharon! I haven't talked to you in a long time. Hope everything is well. We got Nancy. Good old Nancy. Intro echoes. Okay, well, this is me, right? Sorry. Echoes. Yeah, I'm not going to touch that one. All right, now, got a cup of tea, paying close attention. They make your intro. It's probably me. No, I'll take full. Hello, you. Do you know what? Yeah, I did rename her. So she is now officially known as Nova. She likes it too. She responds well. She didn't seem to like the Neve. So thanks to those of you who suggested Nova. We've got Caper, and you got your smokes ready. Okay, smokes and coffee. Everybody's in business. Just say up yours. And we've got Dan, I think. Is that Dan? I don't know why I know that name. Anyways, whatever. Clown Media, if I'm right. Hopefully I'm right. We've got Wade. No echo. All right. We've got Misfits Sick Boy. Long time no see. Hello. Good. My memory is chock full of stuff. My apologies. And we've got Nikki. You love the name, do you, Sharon? She does love it. She knows it. Nova. Do you see? Nova. Yeah. Nova Neve. Okay. Now, I'm going to go through a bunch of stuff. And I tried to actually fill up, I tried to put the links all in the description, which I never seem to do, right? And I ran out of space. It's told me 5,000 characters only. So I guess I ran out of space on that one. I'll try and drop them in as I can, so I'm going to have to use like a Word file, and you'll have to pardon my technical stuff. Now, we'll start with one thing which I think should be cleared up. How do I get this here? So I have spoken about the gun down at, that's not a good word. YouTube gets angry. The analytics are very interesting on this channel. I'm beginning to kind of pay attention a little bit more. Quite interesting. Some videos, it's just my number one people that come are people who don't, it's just suggested videos, which I've never seen before. And then other times, a very low notification rate, by the way. Funny that. Screw YouTube. Where was I going? Two things. Now, I believe it still does say in the link below, Nancy, and Nancy, of course, is one of our extended family. Always great to have everybody on board from the Discord, of course, family members, always, and all of you. So Nancy's had a bit of a tough go. Well, a bit is an understatement. I've left the link below for her. There's a GoFundMe that somebody set up for her very kindly. And so if anybody can spare anything, please do so. I think it is in the link below. Should be. I don't know. And so if you can spare anything, if you can't, please just send her well wishes and prayers. Okay? And obviously prayers to all of you and all the family members as always. Now, let's get to the thing that was found in the wheel well, shall we? Let's start with that. Let's go to the Cert Report. Okay, I'm going to have to move that window over. How do I do this here? Okay. Let's go to the Cert Report, because that actually is going to tie into all this other stuff. Everything ties together. It's very difficult to try to explain, but for me anyways, just because there's so much stuff. But let's go to the Cert Report. Oh, it doesn't want to share. Why did it stop sharing? Here's the Cert Report, which was filed. Oh gosh, you see, now this is why I need my Word file. It plays into this. The Cert Report was filed December 17th. Okay, you're supposed to have it done 3 months over there, Felix, but no can do. And this was for the Enfield situation, December 15th. Okay. And if you scroll down in here, amongst just not very well written, I would say, but by and large, is the link in the description? Can somebody let me know? I would feel terrible if not. Here we have this. The AP was in stolen vehicle. Okay, so this could be the gray or red Mazda, depending on who you're talking to, which contained in the front driver's side area a Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol and ammunition the AP had stolen after killing an RCMP officer. On the floor below the front driver's seat was a loaded Glock 40 caliber equipped pistol with pressure activated laser pointed sighted grip. Now, this is a bit of a conflicting statement, and we're going to look at the picture here, right? That we've all seen by this point in time. And I know that I've spoken to somebody, emailed me very kindly with a tip, kind of just validating that, yes, this was the right course. And the people that help in the background have a lot of knowledge on this kind of stuff. But again, if anybody has any corrections, please let me know. This picture seems to depict the gun here in the front footwell, right there. Okay, it is a black handgun, right? Colors on this stuff, I've noticed, is very interesting. Very, very vague with all this stuff. Now, if we have a look at what am I doing here? We'll look at a couple of things here. So what is kind of, I've heard floating around, is that this is the Heidi's gun, right? Okay, but that doesn't really add up. This is from the Auditor General of Canada. Okay, this is the 2019 Spring Report. I'll throw the link out right now. I'll try and remember to do these links as we go. Okay. And so if we scroll down here, we have a list of regular issued weapons. And as you can see here with the captioned photo, pistol, right? The pistol is nickel or blue. I'm not sure how you refer to that. I believe it's nickel, right? So And that's always been my understanding, that RCMP officers carry, regular RCMP officers carry nickel-plated weapons. Here we go to the BC Firearms Academy. Anybody who has corrections, as always, please help me. Here we have a picture of the weapon, or a weapon. Does it do expanding things? What? Cannot be loaded. Make sure the path exists. No, maybe somebody's gotten rid of it in the last few days. Is that what happened? Okay, interesting. Anyways, moving along. That was here actually, I think, yesterday, but whatever. RCMP handgun, Smith & Wesson 5946, BC Firearms Academy, Smith & Wesson 5946, sidearm, RCMP, manufactured 1990 to 99. Heidi Stevenson was enlisted during this time. So the weapon that they were using prior to this, my understanding, is a revolver, black. But, you know, for quite some time now, they've been using the nickel-plated weapons. And yes, CSE, you're totally correct. The K9 officers and ERT teams are equipped with Glocks, generally. Black Glocks, but regular duties are 5902. Or sorry, what is this here? The 5946, which is described in here at length. Apparently somebody doesn't clean their weapon. And the colors only come in one choice. It's not one of these pinky guns that you get. You know, you can get guns in all kinds of different colors. Interesting to note, though, also, this is some time back, that there was a weapon stolen down in Nova Scotia, March 12th, 2019. But you see, first of all, we're out of the time range. It could happen before. But what they try to explain in the Cert Report is that this is Heidi's gun. But if we look at the picture there, that's not Heidi's gun. So I don't even see Heidi's gun. I don't know quite what's going on there. And also it was noted to me that this gun, which I guess potentially could be an ERT gun, but why would he have an ERT gun? Should have the, let's see here, how does the ERT gun look usually? Where's that? This is, from my understanding, an ERT gun or K9. So why is the lower piece here missing the, and yet we have a black gun there that doesn't have it. Now, the photo, of course, is always grainy, very, I think this is probably a photo of a photo again, or some nonsense. This is how they like to do things. Anyway, if you guys had any thoughts on that, I would appreciate it. Any tips, advice? Also, oh, sorry, I didn't include this article. Select all. There we go. Paste. No, not this. Balls. How did I do this? There we go. Copy. Paste. There we go. Now, the next stuff is going to be a bit of a rabbit hole. Let's start from the top. And hopefully I have my stuff in order. I've spoken about a lot of this in the past, but I'm going to try and just, many things have to go through again, and because there's new people, and welcome aboard. Now, wow, I could just go on and on and on, which is not good. Let's see here. How do you open link here from here? Come on. What do I do? Back in copy. We'll try that. Paste. So we'll start with that one. Okay, so April 24th, right away we got the machine moving. It was actually prior to that, but we got the machine moving from the women's groups. Now, in no way am I saying that domestic violence isn't a very important issue. Of course it is, but that's the thing that they try and do with the mind, is go off into something else, and then you need to be defensive about it. And no, actually you don't. Right away they were calling out for the there was a letter sent out right away. Okay. Short for Nova Scotia. So fitting, yes. Didn't you also say that, Sharon? I think there was a few people that did. So thanks very much again for your suggestions. And of course, we just went off into this right away. April 24th, the day of the first press conference, first major press conference by the RCMP. The one that they didn't air, but they did air the Nova Scotia Legacy Remembers Society. I think then it was Colchester, Heart of Colchester, or something like that. Maybe it had been renamed by that point, which I've gone through, at least in part. We can always go through. I've got lots more on it one day. But they started to produce that immediately. And I said, watch out for the war room down in Ottawa, because they're firing out stuff, trying to get everybody to stop looking. That was one tactic. You put it out on the very same day that the press conference is supposed to be, but they don't air the press conference live. What they do is they have the I don't even know what to call that. I just won't touch it. But that was fired up right away. And when I mean right away, it was right away. Like, they literally did not ID all of the victims. Victims' families weren't informed. Pretty horrendous that you go right into that. And then we also have this introduction, and I've been through Brenda quite a bit. So there's some names to take note of here. Pam Rubin, Lucille Harper, Tara Reddick, Linda McDonald, Jean Sarson, Bernadette McDonald, and Joanna May Black. Okay, now most of us are all familiar with Linda and Jean. Jean's whose husband is RCMP. Linda, who got a book deal subsequently. Lots of interesting things happened here. But that was just the start. That was just the start. Oh, you did. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great minds think alike, because there was a few of you. So I don't remember who was first, but we'll just say it was a great collective decision. And she seems to love the name. And she does respond. Very interesting. Now, we have the letter. Okay, let's move forward a little bit. There is lots that you can always go and find on this stuff. And I'm just going to give you a sampling, okay? Because it's a deep hole, very deep hole, but I'll show you some connections between different things. Supernova? Nova is new, right? Nova means new. So I think that's good. This is the National Association for Women's Law, I think. Is that correct? Let me just double check this here. Association for Women and the Law. Women and the Law. Do they have any affiliations with Leaf? Leaf, who has a very heavy presence in the commission, and I wish that if we can get some clarification as to whether this is actually following under the Inquiries Act. I don't think it is, technically. I don't think it is. I think it's another roundabout. We had the review, remember, and then it went to the commission, because the Inquiry Act is very specific. They could have just said we were going to have an inquiry right away, and, well, it would have been easy. But that took months to figure out that they were going to do the review, which they didn't have to call anybody. Nobody needed to be subpoenaed. You could choose to come. They didn't need to give a report. And of course, under the commission, there's all kinds of confidentiality clauses, Privacy Act, Health Act. I've been through 3 acts that they're going to use probably to, not answer things. So I'm not exactly sure whether this is, in fact, a true inquiry. But those of you who do know, please let me know. Okay, so we had... they also had a letter, lots of letters going out. This went to Fury. Do you see how well organized everything is? Like, it's very, I think some of this may have been helped along in certain situations. It's interesting that the IP addresses and everything came up right away for certain organizations right away, and all that's kept private. Was it? I showed all that before. And now it's suddenly disappeared. Poof, in the wind. Thought you had big plans. All of a sudden gone. I don't know. Anyway. On the Wii scandal? So, okay, so the restorative approach, and of course they're going into domestic violence, sexual violence, domestic gender-based violence. And this is signed by a whole pile of women's groups. Again, very, very good that we have these organizations, but do they in fact belong? When we looked at Brenda's story, I think, how many mentions was it right away within a few sentences? 5 mentions of she didn't want anybody to think she was a liar. Awfully strange way to start a interview with the blacked out screen and muffled voice. And there was a book deal that went along with that one too, right? Jane Gerster. She got a book deal about gender stuff in the RCMP. We also found out, I went through that recently here with this very interesting connection with Brenda, of course, then just suddenly disappeared from Bass River over to Camrose. There weren't any real articles about her before that. Before April. Strange. So I went through this last time, but just as a refresher, here is the LinkedIn, okay, for Brenda. Now in Camrose, okay. Working independent sector, doing security work. Independent sector, very interesting organization out of Washington, D.C. I don't think necessarily quite a grunt would be my impression. If we flash over here to this person, Richard Balin. Richard Balin is the superintendent with the RCMP, acting director, general covert operations for all of Canada. Okay. What connects Brenda and Balin? Oh, well, we have an individual who seems to like to give recommendations to them. That would be this person. Who is this person? Lots of medals. Lots of honors. Seems to do, I don't know, take care of, he's a historian, president of the monuments. Got lots of organizations, like NGOs and philanthropics type things that he's associated with, but a lot of medals. But to my understanding, reserve, lieutenant colonel in the reserve. So I could be wrong. Maybe he was a full enlisted person, but at one point in time, but definitely reserves. And so weekend warrior with that many medals, kind of interesting. And how they're all these, he's deciding to recommend Brenda, of course, Brenda, shaky Brenda, with the dog, hot tub Brenda, who's the only person who ever came out and said these interesting things, to which she never saw anything personally. She just seemed to state hearsay, which was floated and bought. Nobody questioned. Nobody asked to speak to the person who apparently saw that, but as I kept pointing out back then, well, turned out that Glenn had a bit of a mental problem. And that was very early on. I'm like, why don't you speak to the person who saw something? That would be why. Gerster got a book deal. Good for her. Brenda disappeared. Now, let's move along to the next thing. Please bear with me. It's a bit of a... So that's July 7th. Now, July 10th, we go to here. We'll drop that down here. I need to go and get more screens. More screens is going to be helpful. Secrecy stuff. People already starting to kind of get the gist of what's going down. SaltWire, and thanks to those of you who use archive.is and archive.org, saving all those great articles that are needed for future sake because many things disappeared. This one hasn't yet, but I do highly recommend using. More secrecy behind Nova Scotia's government for push to restorative approach to inquiry into mass killings, women's groups, law professor. Okay, so just kind of getting a feel. We had a furry, fuzzy, whatever, saying that he didn't really care too much about what the families wanted. He said something close to that effect. I'm not quoting him verbatim, but something about, we know a little bit better than what the families do. I played it when he did it. All those older videos. Sorry, I can't recall where this clip is. I have a few clips, so bit more punchy today. Okay, that's good. I don't like to be slow. I am kind of slow, but methodical. Let's put it that way. Now, is there anything interesting in here? Canadian press reported that coalition sent letter to Justin Trudeau. Okay, so this is the Dalhousie University professors. Echoes a call. Echoes a call from 24 anti-gender-based violence groups from across the country. Very, very well organized. Not so much as the families, of course, who were getting kind of pushed to the sidelines, which is wrong. Still never honor the 23, which is inappropriate, I think. Insisting the restorative approach would undermine need for independent, full transparency. Now that's a bit of a mouthful, and ranks right up there with the transparency of the RCMP. Now, I'm not sure that there's anything else too interesting in here. I won't, I'm sorry, there's a lot that's going on in my head, so I'm not going to go through that too much at this point in time. We'll just kind of just keep moving along. So that's July 10th. And now in this, we're getting into, I'm not sure the exact date when we moved from review to commission. And I want to use that word commission instead of using inquiry. They want to call themselves the commission. I'll call themselves or call them what they wish to be called. Oops, what happened here? That was not what I wanted. The media seems to like to call them the how do you get rid of this trash? Go away. Okay, so no, I don't want any of your stuff, trials, whatever. You can keep it. The women's group demand public inquiry into Nova Scotia shooting to expose police failures. I'm not sure if they understand who all's possibly in on the know of this. But we had the two rallies, the competing rallies, which is pretty sad down there in Halifax, pitting groups against one another, which I'm not quite understanding why that would happen, but okay. So let's drop that over here. And you get, of course, links to the red flags, and that would go into Brenda. You have very few references, this is the thing, to anything substantial. No hospital reports, no eyewitnesses firsthand, no, nothing. Just this groups that seem to know exactly what happened down there. I'd like to know why. I'd like to know how they know, but maybe they can fill me in. The episode began when he assaulted his girlfriend. How has that been established ever? Has that been established? Last I checked, the commission hadn't even started really officially doing anything. So why is it that, the papers and everybody knew from hearsay comment from a singular individual, or sorry, there were three individuals. One was a married couple. They kind of disappeared. Their story evolved too. Very interesting. They brought new facts into the story, and you can find that if you go back in the articles. And we also had the hearsay witness. I think the married couple did not witness anything also firsthand. They may have heard some comments and seen something which seemed threatening. But nothing been established. Very good to establish things in fact before you kind of get carried away. This train has gone on a long time. Now, let's go into November. Now, in November, there was an incident that happened. Went through it back then, and I said, "Ooh, this is going to be going to cause a problem. Watch for it." Just like the bonging out of the radios, right? The bonging out of the radios for Onslow has actually little to do, I believe, with Onslow, and more to do with what happened down in Shubenacadie and the radio failure, which then did subsequently come up of Morrison. But they wanted to establish this kind of firmly in the psyche of people. Oh, the radios are just dying. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Really, you do the math on the math. I did it back then on how many calls they were dealing with on the radio system. Was totally capable of keeping it up. Yeah, I'm not going to venture into that other area right now. Okay, so let's watch a video. Video time. I always like videos in school, eh? Did you like videos in school? We'll watch a couple. Oh gosh, there's something else there I didn't know too. Lisa court case, shiny thing, tape. Oh yes, that was another one. I get a lot of stuff thrown out. Okay, so I actually named it back then. I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. Saoirse Winter. Lisa Defense. That's actually what I called the file. So let's have a boo with that.
They put the victim in jail because the Crown went on strike and can't return one phone call. And now I gotta take out my leases for somebody, and I can't have my phone for the night, and I'm trapped in a cell, and there's gonna be a bunch of drunk, loud, screaming people in 3 hours that'll keep me up all fucking night. And then they're gonna yell at me and tell me, oh, I'm the one misbehaving.
But here's the other thing. I get you. I hear you.
The Crown could have just called me back.
But on the other side of the coin, Reese.
The Crown could have just called me back.
On the other side of the coin, it's your responsibility.
No, it's not my responsibility because I didn't commit a crime. He did. He assaulted me, and I called, and I told him 100 times he threatened me, and I didn't want to go to court because of it. And they promised someone would call me back, and I called every fucking day for a month.
I know.
And nobody called me back. So why is it their responsibility to fucking return my call?
At the end of the day. Do you have any medical conditions?
Other than being crazy now.
By the way, take note of the clips, okay? And I'm not questioning necessarily her case, but we'll get into a little bit more of it.
I don't think that's a medical condition.
Oh, my doctor disagrees.
Are you under the care of a doctor for anything?
Yes.
What?
PTSD, bipolar. Stand, if that's okay.
Do you have any?
No, I would like to stand. Is that okay? I'm not hurting you. I'm not doing anything bad. Why can't I just stand? Listen, I'm speaking. So you know what? I understand you're speaking, but what I'm asking you is, why do I have to sit down? I'm asking you to. But what I'm asking you is, why is it hurting if I stand? Can you sit down on your own, please? Can you sit down? Thank you. I don't understand why I have to sit. Can't I just stand up? You're in jail, and I want you to sit. Okay, and I'm not hurting you.
That's the problem. When people stand up here and disobey what we're asked, we've been known to fight with people. We do not want that to occur, so she's asking you to sit down. That's all. So, go to... You can just come with me. You can go follow her, she's going to the cell now.
Okay, take note that the video is now muted. I'm not sure whether they have microphones in the cell. Perhaps somebody can enlighten me on that. That would be great. This, by the way, is none of these clips are me. I don't clip generally ever. So maybe that's why it's boring, but I try and just give it as it is. Oh no, CSE loves me. Uh-oh, that's not good. Maybe I'll have to pull out that old Twitter. Good morning, CSE. Just to send that around. So we don't know exactly what all is happening, what's being said. But she was pretty fired up, and she did say, you know, I don't understand why I'm being arrested. He assaulted me, etc., etc. We didn't get, I don't believe, who assaulted her, but okay. Warning on some of this stuff coming up, I think. For those of you with small children and dogs, maybe, or... Okay, so now she's getting a little bit upset, banging her head into the wall. Not so good. That's gotta hurt. Now, here comes the chair. I don't know, those of you who are more familiar with the system can weigh in, but I believe that's used a lot for the protection of both prisoners and officers, and they usually wheel it out and they kind of say, listen, we can put you in this, you know, if you don't want to calm down and just kind of get through the process. That's generally what I've seen before. So now we're skipping ahead. I don't know why they wanted to cut it. I always find when they cut things very interesting. What did we miss necessarily, you know? I kind of like to see it all in its totality. Okay, so now I guess they've decided that she has to go into the chair. She's not very, yeah. Not very happy to go in there. I don't know who would be, but if you bang your head off the wall and stuff, I mean, that may happen to you. I have seen that in the past. See you later, Nancy. Take good care, okay? Please. Okay. The two old ladies. Hope you guys aren't bickering. Make me laugh when you guys do that. I don't know if she's spitting or if they're stopping her from spitting. Again, I'm just presenting what is, not necessarily saying anything too much. I will bring some other pieces in. I just want everybody to kind of know what are the facts as best as I can find them. Okay, so I think, I don't know how long this goes on for. Oh, another 20 seconds. Okay, so that was the entirety of what was issued to the public. That was issued, that event transpired. Let's see if we can find when that was. I'll give you the link, of course. Anybody who has any thoughts on that? I don't know if you guys all feel she was being manhandled, abused. Not sure. So what happens is, but it's setting up a narrative, and the date is important. She was too afraid to testify at her ex's domestic abuse trial. She was jailed instead. Saoirse Winter was arrested, strapped to a resistant chair, and charged with assaulting a peace officer. Okay. Saoirse Winter found herself locked up in a jail cell, Halifax Regional Police Headquarters. She sat on a metal bench, leaned against the bars, and thought about dying. I guess, did they do an interview with her? Then she turned towards the concrete wall and started hitting her head against it. She banged her head about 36 times. 36 times. At times pulling her head back and smashing it into the wall until she finally stopped. Winter, I believe that was because they probably put her in the chair, but I'm not sure. Winter, 45, Dartmouth, has no criminal record. Now, I do know that she has had issues with fentanyl, and we're going to get into something. Why don't we do that right now? She has a bit of a history, and I'm not being judgmental. I have had issues of my own in my own past with addiction, so and lots of people do, sadly. Let's see here. We're going to go back to 2006. Copy. Paste. Paste. This is from CanLaw. Let's hit enter over here. Oops. Okay. Sorry. R.V. Best, 2006. Nova Scotia Court of Appeal. Adam Devon Best. October 25th. Judges. Chief Justice Nova Scotia MacDonald. You know, the same MacDonald that sits on the commission. Let's find Winter. And I'll leave the case for you to read over. But there was other evidence tending to confirm the testimony of Pinch and Parker. Mr. Bass acknowledged the possession of a carload of stolen goods when picked up as a hitchhiker leaving the accident scene. The driver observed a white substance on his clothing, consistent with Mr. Pinch's testimony that they had knocked over a can of white paint during the break-in at Mr. Eustace' residence. Mr. Best left jewelry from one of the robberies at the home of Ms. Winters, or Ms. Winter, sorry. Same Ms. Winter. Fled to the scene of the accident. And it was kind of a nasty case. Again, I don't know necessarily, but the paths have crossed before. I find that interesting. One, and two, yeah, there seems to be a long ongoing history. Perhaps I have the other articles. I know I've gone through them before when I went through the video and stuff a long time ago about the fentanyl issues and being arrested with it. And she did some articles, I believe, about addiction and stuff, which is really, addiction is a tough stuff. It's tough stuff. I don't make light of it in any way, shape, or form. Now, the timing, though, is very important, okay? So if we look at that, where are we at here? Domestic abuse trial. Afraid to testify. November 9th, okay? Now, hello, David. So we're kind of getting the possible, I'm just saying possible, stuff being laid down here for things to come, right? I don't want to die at the hands of a psycho, obviously not. Faced 14 charges, sounds like a bad dude. 7 officers, 6 of which were male, are on hand. So she was supposed to testify. I think that then resulted in her saying that she needed to get drunk or something like that, or have some beer to get ready to go to court, which, I don't know, probably wouldn't help her testimony too much. And the judge, I think, had some issues with this. The Crown had before, probably, I'm guessing, and then issued something. We don't know exactly. I believe it is an arrest warrant, but I'm not sure. And I'm guessing that actually the assault took place at the residence which she was detained at. So we'll watch another little video here. I'm going to have to bring it up on my channel. Because then there was, so there was a whole bunch of articles coming out about that, testifying in abuse trials. How could you do that? Which obviously would be scary, I have no doubt. I just don't know if getting drunk and banging your head on the wall, assaulting an officer is the best, but maybe I'm missing something. Okay. So I put together a little series of clips here. We'll play 2 parts of it right now.
Your government over the last few.
Okay, so just to give you a little intro into this. This video is, I believe, 26 minutes long. It's kind of the meeting that took place, just a general meeting, and then they do a press conference. Barbecue, yummy. We've got quite the barbecue. And this is taking place November 12th, 2020. You can find it online on CPAC. Let's just watch it.
Few years has taken steps to try to address domestic violence, both in terms of offering services, but I think also trying to take away the stigma and encourage survivors to come forward. And so having said that, I wonder what you make of this story that we saw earlier in the week where a woman who's an alleged victim ended up being thrown in jail and restrained out of her concerns about going to court and facing her attacker.
I don't know all the details of it, but I do know this. When I saw, it was shocking to me. There's no other way to put this, that the victim of domestic violence ends up being the one before the court system. Quite frankly, we know, and unfortunately, too many victims of domestic violence are scarred from the perpetrator. And when coming forward takes a tremendous amount of courage, an unbelievable amount of courage, and then to have the system respond in the way it's alleged to have responded to this victim is completely unacceptable in my view.
Is there any conversation that you've had at this point with either Minister Fury or perhaps even Mr. Hershoff about what you'd like to see done here, whether it's an investigation or an examination or anything else for that matter?
So I haven't spoken to the Independent Crown. Minister Fury and I just spoke briefly this morning about this, but there are many questions that I think need to be answered. what is the issue? Why the Crown would have sought to have the courts have her arrested? What was the handling when she was arrested? But go back to the very, I think, and again, this isn't, I'm not a lawyer and I haven't been in the court since, but I do want to say this, and particularly around domestic violence. It shows the lack of understanding by so many people of the terror of this terrible, terrible crime. I'm getting a bit emotional because I can tell you of all the things in my elected life, and I've had plenty come before me, but when it comes into my office and a woman who's been traumatized by domestic violence is sitting before you, it has to have a huge impact in you. And it seems like the system has not responded to that. The terror that someone must feel, often dominated by someone much stronger and bigger and forceful in their own home, terrified they're going to get out with their life or trying to get their children out of this environment. And then to have our system respond that way, regardless of all of the other circumstances related to it, the system just needs to become more compassionate and understanding and recognize the tremendous courage that women are doing in this province to come forward.
Now, I'm going to intercede here for a moment. Do remember that Premier McNeil, at the time, and still obviously Nova Scotia, is dealing with the worst mass murder in Canadian history. 23 people were killed under his watch. And he said that this is the worst thing that he's ever dealt with, is this domestic violence issue. Substituting in, think about Lisa Banfield, okay? You can kind of put them in the same picture, kind of, right?
And until it does, until all aspects of our system responds in that caring, compassionate, kind way, we're going to see perpetrators get away with this horrible crime. And I spent a lot of time as the Premier of this province trying to make sure that women felt safer in their own homes, that children were being cared for, and it just was shocking to me to read the alleged reports of what happened to this woman.
The Prime Minister.
Okay, so the first question now will be facing Fuzzy Fury, will be RCMP, of course, who, gone also. They all go. Jenga will be also the same thing.
Can we start? The Premier had mentioned to us that you and he have had a conversation this morning about the report we saw earlier this week about the domestic violence survivor who ended up being arrested and held in jail for not attending court. Could you tell us, I guess, first of all, your reaction to that story, and second, what, if anything, you're doing to look into that matter?
Or sorry, please let me know. Sorry, my microphone was muted. Please let me know your thoughts. Can you see any kind of similarity what will be coming down the pike here shortly in terms of Lisa and some of the outcry? And we'll get to those articles too.
Well, what we've heard and what we've seen in the video is, to say the least, troubling. And it has caused both the Premier and I some obviously serious reflection. We've put a lot of time and energy into mitigating incidents of domestic violence, providing supports to survivors.
Oh, sorry, one other thing. Please do take note of the emotion. So we had Premier McNeil earlier crying almost. He was just about crying, right? And he said, my emotion gets the better of me in this one. And we have Minister Fuzzy Fury. He was, laughing and looking at his watch, and then all of a sudden, right into this, stuttering, and it's very disturbing.
We've advanced additional training, trauma-informed training, sensitivity training to all of the front line, made that available, and we're still seeing these types of outcomes. This is very difficult to manage, to be quite honest with you. But I'll say this: we have to continue our commitment to mitigating incidents of domestic violence. We have to have a different discussion. We need to know that there's a different understanding and that there's a different response, and we need a different outcome. I've dealt with this for 40 years. I've seen the worst of the worst. I had hoped that with the commitment and renewed effort of everybody involved, we'd see a change. And upon reflection, I'm not going to give up. We'll continue this discussion. I've asked yesterday in a briefing within the department, specific to these circumstances. I've asked for a review. I need to know what my authority is, how broad a review I'm able to consider and undertake. We need to change the outcome, and the circumstances of last week tell me we have a lot of work to do.
When you see a story like you did, and you balance that with the efforts that your government has made, which you've mentioned, how does it make you feel about the progress?
Well, we have made significant progress in some areas, but I think obviously there's more work to do, but we have to have a better understanding of the true impact that domestic violence has on victims and survivors, and how do we, as a government, as a community, as a province, change the behaviors of everybody involved so that we see outcomes that are supportive, are sensitive, are compassionate to the needs of those individuals who experience this trauma, only to be re-traumatized. And I don't know what the answer is, Mike, but I'm not giving up.
Minister, just finally, and specific to this example that we're talking about, you mentioned that you're asking for information about potential options for you vis-a-vis a review. What is it exactly that you're trying to find out, and what is it that you would like to potentially do here?
Well, what I need is a different outcome. And as I've said earlier, we've done significant work. We've invested heavily in supports and training, resourcing, understanding, and people. There is a change. Believe me, there is a change. But it's these incidents that I'm afraid are occurring only too frequently, and we're not aware of it. The only reason this even came to light is because this particular survivor is back before the courts on a charge of assault.
Sound familiar? Didn't report it? Back before the courts? Being charged? Just saying.
we would not have otherwise known. I need to know that this is not a norm. I need to know that particularly in those areas of custody, that people are treated with dignity and respect, and that we have a full understanding of the circumstances of why they're there and how they came to be there. I'm not looking to point blame at anyone. I need solutions. I need a different way of thinking. I need a different understanding. And we can't, as a government, do it alone. We've had tremendous support from the Department of Community Services, from the Status of Women, transition houses across the province. I traveled a year ago, last fall. I did 9 roundtables hosted by individual transition houses, first voice discussions with survivors of domestic violence. They have identified to us some consistencies that exist in their exposure to the process, and those patterns of disrespect and a lack of sensitivity and a lack of compassion to their circumstances are troubling, and we continue to work with a focus on providing supports to survivors, but
Survivors. And he's also dealing with Canada's worst mass murder, 23 individuals. Just saying.
Obviously much more work required so that we all have a better understanding of the circumstances that these individuals are facing, and how the impact of their circumstances as a victim impact their behaviors in other areas. I think it's a reasonable question to ask. Why would this individual choose not to appear in court? I know the answer to that. I've spent 40.
Sorry, who are you speaking about? Lisa? Oh, my apologies.
Years in this area. She fears for her life.
So by that,
we have to find a better outcome.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but by that extension, does it trouble you that she would be charged with assault under these circumstances?
It troubles me that she's being re-traumatized. And the contributing factors to that are that she's back before the court herself now as an offender. As I said earlier, we need a different discussion. We need a different understanding to domestic violence, and we need a different response. And we all have to work towards a different outcome.
Minister, I want to ask about the...
Now we're going to go to a name that may be familiar with a lot of you, right? Nancy Reagan. Okay. Deputy Premier, also Minister of Status of Women. Oh, Nancy.
Minister, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you, as the minister responsible for the status of women, your thoughts on the woman who is facing charges because she refused to testify against her abusive husband, abusive partner.
We know that studies show us that usually, and it's usually a woman, it's not always a woman, but usually a victim of domestic violence, a woman, is, I think the last statistics I saw they were attacked at least 7 times before they ever report it to the police. It takes a lot of courage for a woman to report assault by the person who is supposed to love them and care for them to police. So it is deeply disturbing when we see what we saw. And I reached out to Minister Fury immediately after hearing about this, and we're looking at this because this should not be happening.
Oh, my apologies. Regan, give me one moment. I'm sorry, did I have something wrong here? Where are we at here? Regan. Wrong here. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Sister of. Kelly Regan, right? Kelly Regan. Okay. Nova Scotia Advisory Council Status of Women. Interesting. I don't, thank you for correcting me. I really appreciate that. Nancy is the sister, is that correct? Nancy, you'll also come up here. The award-winning television director, producer, and writer. Right. Sorry. Thanks for the correction.
A person who has been victimized already should be lauded for their courage in coming forward. And we want to make sure that they are treated with respect.
And what, if any, effect do you think knowing what happened in this case will have to people who are facing a similar situation, and whether or not they'll want to come forward?
I think it's already so difficult for victims of domestic violence to come forward. Whether it's here or anywhere, women don't come forward. The first time it happens, they're probably dealing with shock. And this is the person who is supposed to love them and look after them. So then they finally make a complaint to the police, and there may be good reasons why that person does not want to testify. And I think we have to respect the victim.
On top of all of that, the police charged her for assaulting one of them. What do you think of that?
Again, I've spoken to Minister Fury about this. You heard him earlier. He wants to deal with this, and he is looking at what is it he has within his authority to deal with that. But I think that all of the actors in the system need to ask themselves, what is it we're trying to achieve here? And I don't think it is charging a woman who has reported domestic violence. I don't think anybody wants that.
You've talked quite regularly about this subject since you took on this file.
Yes.
You've made all kinds of announcements about programs and funding and all of that stuff. Yeah. How does it feel after all of that to see something like what we saw on Monday?
It was deeply distressing.
Any other questions today? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
And that concludes Cabinet Outs for today.
Now, I believe the entire, let's see, do I have that? How many links? How many windows do I have open? Many. The entire broadcast is of that cabinet stuff is about 28 minutes, and I'm going to say 16 minutes of it anyways is devoted to this particular case. It seems rather suggestive. Just saying. Don't charge anybody, but let's see what happens. There's a link here I'll provide you for the clipped version of that. And also you can just search, it's under CPAC, Nova Scotia Premier McNeil, Minister and Minister's comment after Cabinet meeting November 12th. Okay. Now, am I still keeping people's attention, or am I moving too slow? Why did this go down there? I've lost my place. Okay, so we get a few articles that start to, of course, come out. Let's go to this one next. Okay, confirm. Yeah, it's predictive programming almost. Jailing of domestic violence complaint condemned by mental health law expert. Dalhousie professor says detention of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia woman was a horror show. Well, frankly, I just saw clipped videos. I don't quite understand the circumstances. I don't know how it all went down. Seems kind of similar to something else. Yet we have these huge, already rushed to judgments. After viewing surveillance tape, I'm not sure if he viewed the surveillance tape that was clipped or not. I don't know. But it would be great to see the body cam footage of when she was arrested, or how that all exactly transpired, why the warrant was put out, how many cases did she not show for. A lot of times in these cases, they just dismiss them if a complainant doesn't come forward. But again, I'm not overly familiar with it. So there was a lot of cases that were linked to this. And this dude does sound like a bad dude. I wonder if it's the same fellow. The 2004 fellow was beating old men with pipes that Mr. McDonald heard. I don't know. The same McDonald who's on the commission. I'm not sure. However, it was bad enough that that individual got jailed for, I believe it was 13 years. So pretty severe. Again, I left you the link before. She became agitated in the booking area. It doesn't really talk about anything that transpired beforehand. Just saying, it's always interesting to note. I think there were a bunch of groups that came out. Let's see, is that in this article? We've got more footage here. Interesting. Never saw that. I would like to see it in the drunk tank. Okay, so was there that question was never posed, which is actually quite a usual question. Are you under the influence of anything? I didn't hear that question asked. You know, are you on any medications? I don't know. Maybe that's privacy. Not sure. And the video is there. I believe that's the video I took from way back. And it gets into some other stuff, some other cases. Okay. Now, so just keeping the time frame in mind. You also have like this. Oh, sorry. Copy. Paste. So 2 days after the press conference. Crown drops case against domestic complainant in Halifax court. Sorry, the November 18th. So 6 days after that, is that 6 days after the press conference? The assault case went away. I haven't heard anything. There was a lot of groups that came out, though, spoke on her behalf, and I encourage you to go and do research on all that. Lack sensitivity, the police did when she was arrested on a bench warrant. what it was the bench warrant. Was it for just simply not showing up to testify? Was it for something else? I get a lot of other things thrown in there too. Kelly Regan, after the case was reported on last week, Premier Stephen McNeil said the jailing of domestic violence complainant was for refusing to testify was, quote, completely unimaginable. He said the justice system needs to be more compassionate and understanding when dealing with domestic violence. Kelly Regan, minister responsible for the advisory Council on the Status of Women, told reporters Winter's treatment was deeply disturbing, and Justice Minister Mark Freary called for a review. He likes his reviews, Fuzzy does. It's troubling to me that she's being re-traumatized. A lot of the buzzwords coming. And contributing factors to that she's back before the court herself now as an offender. We need a different understanding of domestic violence. We need a different response, and we all have to work together towards a different outcome. I personally would like to know the whole facts. I don't know, all of it, the arrest, the bench warrant, everything, before we understand exactly what's going on. And I don't think that it was necessarily true that she doesn't have a criminal record, but I could be wrong. And I'm not trying to persecute her in any way. It's just laying the foundation for something else yet to come. A mood plan to argue police violated Winter's right Charter of Freedoms. She contends she was deprived of her right to counsel after she was arrested. Is there something here that Lisa may be using that the government is going to throw our way? I have a sneaking suspicion, and there was massive. It was quite interesting to watch. Again, the huge outpouring on social media. All of a sudden, very well organized to get. First, how did the story come to light? Second of all of these groups, different groups, not just women's groups, but people belong to different things that were heavily involved with this. Now, did I leave you the link to that? I want to be sure. Okay, good. Are we plugging along here decently? Let's see here. Let's go to the next one. November, so that's November 18. Now, we'll go to this article. Copy. Paste. And if you have anything else, I don't know. I will approve whatever people leave if the YouTube decides to withhold it. If I make sure if I catch it, I gotta remember. But if you put links in there, I think it likes to withhold them or something, but I'll find them and approve them. Nova Scotia women's groups blast violation of human rights after jailing of domestic violence victim. November 22nd. Amid call for bans on arrest warrant, minister orders thorough review of police, prosecutors, court services. The group representing women's shelters across Nova Scotia is calling restraint, assault charge against a domestic violence complaint. Okay, so we didn't even get the trial, so didn't actually get the facts out, what happened. I don't know. But anyway, moving along. By Halifax Regional Police, absolutely appalling in violation of human rights. It says, only serving to entrench fear of police and add additional burden to victims of violence. Those comments on Friday after Paul Carver, the chief prosecutor of Halifax, ordered assault charge against Cirrus Winter. My apologies if I've mispronounced your name, ma'am. Abandoned because it was not in the public interest, though he believed there was a reasonable prospect of conviction. The case was dropped amid a chorus of denunciations. Okay, so, you know, that was that earlier article. And an outpouring of sympathy for Winter. Those of you who are familiar with and can recall that time, there was huge petitions going around all over social media. So it was a huge outpouring right away. I don't like a video that surfaced. Anyway, Crown Attorney Scott Morrison asked for the arrest warrant November 2019 after Winter failed to testify against a 61-year-old man she feared. It was issued by Judge Alana Murphy shortly after Winter was taken to the police lockup, where she expressed frustration, fear of jail officers, and repeatedly harming herself in a lockup, banging of head 36 times. She was yelled at, grabbed from the cell, strapped to a restraint chair, and charged with assaulting a booking officer. Okay, so they say it was the booking officer that she assaulted with. Didn't get any video of that. And I didn't hear any yelling, but maybe you guys can help me with that. Critics unnamed, decried what they saw as a lack of compassion and traumatic force against Winter, who is part Black, part Indigenous, has mental health conditions, and a history of abuse by partners, as well as, quite from what I understand and have read, severe addiction issues. By her own words. The story came to light after surveillance video of her treatment in lockup was given to her lawyer as a disclosure on the assault charge. Winter shared it with CBC. Okay, so Winter shared it. Who was the lawyer again? Thorough review, so justice recovery is easier. The issue is so sensitive, the Public Prosecution Service, who's also getting sued in this case in the Nova Scotia shooting, has a manual on domestic violence which states in the public interest, quote, in the public interest to respond, quote, to swiftly, effectively reports of spousal partner violence. Still waiting for those ones down Nova Scotia. Been over a year. Haven't found too many. But anyway. The policy is pro-arrest, pro-charge, and pro-prosecution against the offender. That is horrific. Hopefully they'll issue the full tapes and everything so we can deal with this one swiftly. When a complainant is reluctant or fails to testify, the manual lists adjourning the case as a first option. If an arrest warrant is requested, it, quote, is not intended to punish the complainant or victim. Premier Stephen McNeil, Kelly Regan, Minister Advisory Council of Status of Women, and Mark Fury, Fuzzy, Justice Minister, gone. Everybody's gone. Well, actually, sorry. Regan is still there, right? I believe. Said that she's in a very protected position at this point in time. Said that we're troubled by Winter's ordeal emerged despite the government's commitment to supporting victims of domestic violence. McNeil said it's the worst thing he's aware of. Short memory. In an emailed statement, quote, a thorough review turns into a commission, which may or may not be an inquiry involving police, grounds, and court services has been ordered to, quote, make road to justice and recovery easier for victims and survivors. Kind of languaging, suggestive, said Fury. Halifax Regional Police and Public Prosecution Service have declined interview requests. Women who are in abusive situations have absorbed a horrific message, said Shiva Norpana. My apologies. Shiva Norpana, provincial coordinator of the Transitional Housing Association of Nova Scotia. I'm not going to touch on this one today too much, though there is a lot there. Now, let's look at something else here. Okay, social anthropology. Okay. Dalhousie. Oh, I see. Canadian Femicide Observatory for Justice and Accountability. Amanda Dale's organization. You know, the one that came out right away. Okay, moving along. She's concerned that a woman's fear of leaving an abusive partner is a worse consequence than staying with him has been validated. Quote, "Oh my God, what will happen if I call the police? What will happen if I'm called to testify? You know," end quote, "you know, maybe it's just easier to live with the abuse and deal with it," said Norapana. My apologies. Really does turn victims into criminals. Women's Centers Connect. I'm not actually familiar with this, and I'm sorry, I meant to research this prior to this video. I haven't. I just missed things. An organization that represents women's centers across rural Nova Scotia is calling for an immediate ban on arrest warrants and jail cells to be used against domestic violent complainants. Really does turn victims into criminals, says Wayne Sandler, director of the Antigonish Women's Center, in an interview on Information to Morning. My apologies. I'm familiar with this name from somewhere, but I'll find that. Sandler has heard from her frontline workers that this is not the first time that a bench warrant has been used against a victim who is afraid of testifying. Pam Rubin. Do you remember that name, Pam Rubin? Pam Rubin was one of the signatures to that letter. One of the center's therapists said she corresponded with the Public Prosecution Service, the same one that's being sued, on this issue early last year. Verona Singer, an adjunct professor in criminology, St. Mary's University, said there are alternatives to pressuring a woman to face the offender in court. Okay. Verona Singer was head of the Halifax Police Victim Services. Video statements by police of victims are rarely used, she said, but should be utilized by prosecutors when a complainant doesn't show up for court. Singer ran high-risk domestic violence program at Halifax Regional Police that monitors victims who are at risk of murder or serious injury. Winter is part of a program that failed to use trauma-informed based approach when she didn't testify, Singer said. Quote, "The fact that she was high risk means that she has been in domestic violence that is incredibly traumatic and incredibly violent. I'm not sure if that is the same individual that was charged many years ago that was hiding jewelry at her house, but I don't know. Hopefully she didn't move on to something else equally abusive. That would be horrific and terrible if she is in that. The arrest and jailing of Winter served to, quote, betray her trust in the system aimed at protecting her, said Singer. Now, Verona Singer, also a very familiar name to me. So let's see here. Verona Singer, just in, doing this stuff. Verona Singer. Let's try Nova Scotia. Oh, here she is also. Canadian Femicide Observatory for Justice and Accountability. Those of you who aren't familiar with Amanda Dale's video, CBC, very early on, calling this a domestic violence with no real proof. I think by that point we had a Sun article out. Anyway, seeing a pattern? I kind of did. But maybe not. Now, that takes us to November 22nd. November 25th to December 10th. Excuse me. 2020. Let's go to Regan's group or portfolio here. 16 days activism against gender-based violence. Okay, and 16 days. Okay. November 25th. Women and Gender, Government of Canada. Sorry if I didn't provide that link. Here, paste. There's the Government of Canada one, which I'll leave for you to read at if you're interested. But just kind of giving you a timeline here. Here's the Status of Women one from Nova Scotia. Okay, moving along. November 29th, Mark Fury makes a statement. Fuzzy. Okay. Paste. Lots of stuff happening all the time. Just got to keep abreast of the things that are happening. And I'm sure there's more there. So I do encourage you to go and look and let me know what you find. News release on November 29th. Sorry, this is 2018. Intimate partner training for police. I thought we'd already been down this road before. Hadn't we? Kind of like always these resolutions never seem to get carried out. Anyway, that was under him, but I guess he never quite dealt with it, or people still banging their heads on walls. December 4th. Let's fast forward a little bit. There'll be lots of stuff in between, I assure you. All you have to do is look. Let's go to December 24th. Or sorry, December 4th. December 4th. Paste. Oh, I can't breach it. Yeah, okay. Oh, no. This is interesting. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe somebody didn't want me to go there. I believe I may have the window open. Is this it? I do. Nova Scotia mass murderer's spouse who survived rampage. Survivor. Charged with giving him bullets. Lisa Banfield is among 3 people charged with unlawfully transferring ammunition to Gabriel Wortman, her common-law spouse. December 8th. Originally published December 4th. I wonder what changed in those 4 days. Always interesting. I've been noticing that some of them now, a certain publication, I keep track of their articles. Even though they don't update it, they don't actually even put the date on it. They do change their articles quite a bit. I noticed that their articles all went down one day on a certain topic. Anyway, so what kind of groundwork have you already laid here? Do you think that there's going to be an outpouring? Do you think you've already motivated people into a certain thing? You already have the massive petitions going around on social media and drawing awareness to it and devoting half of a press conference to it and multitude of articles. Do you think there's going to be reaction from the people? Just maybe. Media is very good at doing stuff. I'm sensing wolves all of a sudden. Was it an article, Todd, you had? All right, so we had Kelly Regan also had a statement earlier the month before, but I can't seem to find it, sadly. Kelly Regan, enhanced domestic violence training for Nova Scotia police. Justice, police officers in our community and across the province have received enhanced domestic violence training. I'm not sure, did they receive that before under Fuzzy? I think they did. Did we just go through that? But I guess it wasn't enough. It seems to be an ongoing process, a little bit more, I don't know, whatever fits today's picture. During the announcement late last month, my colleague, Minister of Justice and retired police officer, of course, RCMP, Mark Fury, noted that, quote, intimate partner violence is an issue that has touched far too many lives, particularly one, I think. Same day we're talking about it. It's important that we provide police officers with training. They need to deal professionally and effectively with victims and the children, who are often in the house where incidents of abuse occur. According to the release from the province, the new training program is being given to all frontline officers across the province, including RCMP, municipal and military police, the ones with the white cars that somehow have the magically appearing photoshopped bumper stuff. Oh, sorry. Over the next 2 months, 6 train the trainer. That's how you do it. Are being led by representatives of the Department of Justice, Fuzzies, Public Prosecution Service, the one that's getting sued, and Medical Examiner Office, one that seemed to have problems disclosing autopsies to the next of kin. The program will help officers to assessing risk, investigations, arrest protocols, recognizing the signs of abuse and injuries are not always obvious, minor injuries type thing. Supporting children on the scene and emergency protection orders, among other topics. All of this I'm saying. Don't hide behind skirts. I like things being dealt with too. Deal with them. Don't hide behind them. Not very cool. Now, okay, so we were watching a video earlier, right? Were we watching? I believe we were. Remember the same day Lisa's getting charged. Is it the same day? Yes. An early release. Thank you, Nancy. Or Kelly. My apologies. Where am I looking here? No. Oh, balls. Now I closed it. All right, so that's fine. I think we can find it here. And the video up. Right, okay. Sorry, my bad. So we'll fast forward.
Thank you for joining this video message on the Day of Remembrance and Action.
Oh, sorry. I had Mike muted again. You get an early release. So this is very good. The same day Lisa Banfield's getting charged, 2 days early, a commemoration for the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women on December 6th. But they release it on December 4th. Let's back up here.
Thank you for joining this video message on the Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. I'm joining you virtually this year due to the pandemic. And I'd like to acknowledge that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. I want to thank Elder Marlene Companion for contributing her wise and thoughtful words to this video commemoration. She always adds so much to any event in which she's involved. The National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women on December 6th is a time to remember the young women who lost their lives at École Polytechnique de Montréal 31 years ago. It's also a day to honor the memory of all women and girls whose bright futures were lost as a result of gender-based violence. In Nova Scotia in particular, that loss has been driven home to us this year.
That is true, Weed. You did send a video of the TED Talks. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Governments across the country recognize the importance of staying home as much as possible to reduce the effects of COVID-19. We also recognize that home is not a safe place for everyone. We know violence continues to be a reality in the lives of many women and girls. And so we remember all those who've been impacted by violence, those we've lost, survivors, family members, friends, and loved ones. I am deeply aware that so many Nova Scotians care about building communities free from gender-based violence. Your actions matter. Our actions matter. We can all be allies for change, and we can all make a difference. Now's the time to join together to honor the promise and resilience of women and girls. It's a time to commit to doing the work that we need to do to ensure everyone can live free from violence in our homes and in our communities. Standing Together is the province's action plan to break the harmful cycles of gender-based violence. It's a way for government to work differently with community partners and organizations to reduce domestic violence and better support survivors. Standing Together places an emphasis on knowledge sharing and collaboration. I know there's a lot of work that still needs to be done to better support women in all their diversity, including Mi'kmaq, African Nova Scotian, and Acadian and Francophone communities, women with disabilities, older women, and newcomers. Through the important work underway in several community-led projects and initiatives across the province, we're exploring new approaches and practices and learning together. On December 6th, we remember and honor. We remember the women who stood up for equality and women's rights. We remember those who built the foundation of the women's movement. And we remember the women at École Polytechnique and all women who lost their lives because of violence. And we honor them. In the introduction to this video, you saw the photograph of Province House bathed in purple lights. Those lights are a symbol of courage, survival, and honor. I'm so proud the team at the Legislative Assembly has adorned our historic building in purple once again to remember. And I thank all of our partners across the province who are shining purple light on their buildings and flying their flags at half-mast. It's a show of solidarity, recognizing an issue that affects us all. I also want to convey my deepest gratitude to the many Nova Scotians who dedicate their lives to disrupting harmful cycles of violence in our communities. Gender-based violence is a complex issue, and we all have a shared responsibility to shift outcomes and take action. Across the province, many individuals and groups are committed to doing their part to make Nova Scotia a safer and healthier province. This includes the work of key public safety partners in the women's community, justice system stakeholders, and organizations committed to helping Nova Scotians build lives free from violence. Standing together will make an impact. To close this video commemoration, I'm pleased to present the music video Survive by Rainey Smith. Thank you.
Now, very good. Release it 2 days early, the same day Lisa's getting charged. Yeah. I'm thinking that certain people had certain things to do with that, I don't know, or NST or National Observatory Fight Femicide. Moving along. Let's just do a little search here. Trying to find something here. Let's see here. Halagonia.ca. I believe this is Sean DeWitt. I think. The one who does lots of photos. No, I don't want any more stuff. Go away. I don't want your stuff. Nancy Reagan. Okay. On your side. On your side. Everybody watch On Your Side down there? Maybe my memories. Let's see. Live at 5. Strange. Right. Other little interesting tidbits. Oh, that moved, my understanding. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I am. I don't think I ever uploaded that yet, but where was that? There was a video.
I left this on the table. Maybe I left it on for a reason. Do you mind handing me that and I'll toss it behind here? Find my system. This happens to be here because I wrote it yesterday.
It's a very small province. I get that. Anyway, just something for you to watch if you want. So, moving along. Where are we at? We're a few days before? 2 days before, is that right? I do remember, of course, Justice McDonald. No QC that I found. But Justice McDonald, he was the one who tossed out Gerald Regan's cases. There's a very good article on it, by the way. I don't have it convenient right now, unfortunately. Maybe I can stick it in the notes. Let me see. Also, the Supreme Court decision is pretty good. McDonald, of course, who sits on the commission. I can't remember if this is it. Balls on your face. I believe it is this article. Very good. I'll post it there. Not sure, it just no actual shopping occurred. Crown Counsel's pre-charge interviews with complainants. The trial judge, Justice Michael McDonald, Nova Scotia Supreme Court, said interviews are rare. I think there was something tossed out from Alberta. I don't know. It's an interesting read. Interesting. Now, let's go forward. The next day. Why don't we do the next day? Okay, well, we can do, I don't know, something like this. University honoring Nicole Polytechnique Massacre Victims Sunday, December 5th. Okay. Maybe, sorry. Should always provide the links. I'm very bad about doing that. My apologies. At least I've got the microphone unmuted, right? Global. Oh, didn't want to send. There we go. Okay. So, as you can see, it seems to be a very interesting pick time. RCMP always have very interesting pick times, and there's a lot going on. I saw a lot of postings about this throughout this whole time. Certain people who ran Facebook groups and things the entire time posting it. Seems as though they may have had a view on some of that. No. So you get the gist. Again, I encourage you to go and do your research if you'd like. You always do, and thank you for sending me articles too. So you got some other stuff then, of course, and this is important, but does it muddy the waters? Is the question. Of course it does. It totally muddies the waters. When you have people coming out and saying, "Oh, charging people is wrong, and this is the worst thing ever," who are abuse victims, and of course, there's this narrative that's been sold with zero evidence, that's forthcoming, which seems to me that by this point in time, if something does emerge, I'd be even suspect of it now, because you played so many silly games with it all. you could have just said right at the beginning, there would be massive records. But anyway, so, Polytechnique was December 6th, which was obviously a horrible day. There's a lot to that story too, but I'm not going to go through it right now. But it's just very interesting pick time. They did their last interview with her, June, July, I believe. Now, let's move forward. So the very next day, let me go to that. Red flags. State of mind. Red flags. Remember the red flags article from the Globe and Mail? Subtly triggering at things. Maybe. Collected police uniforms. Of course, which no blood on the clothes. Not dirty. Inside, outside. Police vehicles. Abuse thing seems to have been written down somewhat, but it's still here. Guns. Oh, that also, of course, came out too with the Polytechnique, because you always get the gun stuff comes out at the same time. So there was I believe there was an article reference to that. Let's see here. Or several. The cat. I got more on the cat. So are we seeing a narrative? Didn't see this gun there in the front seat, but thanks, Felix. Not sure whose gun was there, and not sure where Heidi's gun is. Perhaps a question worthy of asking. Preparing for the end. Only 3 days prior. Getting charged. When did we have the admission of the psychological autopsy? Yeah, that's very good. Very good. You do a psychological autopsy on somebody who's alive. Maybe somebody knows. It is there, but they also picture Heidi's gun, and Felix's report seems to indicate, let's see, did I have that? Maybe I misread it. Which contained in the front driver's side area, a Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol and ammunition that the AP had stolen after killing an RCMP officer. I thought I heard it was on the floor somewhere, but maybe not. Okay, let's fast forward some more. Doesn't stop there. Why stop? There are a lot of these articles floating around too. Charging shooter's ex-partner. causing rise in misogyny, victim blame. This is a very good article, actually. We know that women can be coerced into crime because of their vulnerabilities if they captive in a violent relationship. Maybe Linda's seen all the reports. She did have a caller, right? Brenda called her, who then encouraged her to call Tim. Actually, I think it was Linda that contacted Tim Bousquet over at the Halifax Examiner. Interesting. Oh, wow. There's a release. For immediate release. I've seen 2 other groups that type that. But, you know, probably a lot of groups do. And I'm not sure if I ever saw that she witnessed anything other than kind of forcibly removing her from the person's house that was accusing her of cheating. Gun bans. Gun bans is a bit of a sidetrack, but it's there. Yeah, the Star. You can keep it localized, but you can also do it kind of more on a national scale. Oh, don't want to load for me again? Oh, ouch. Come on. You guys can click the link that I just put in there. I put the same link in there. Oh, HTML. Maybe. My apologies. This one's my fault. Don't want to blame something that's not. Okay. Let's try a new window. There we go. It's pure cruelty for the RCMP to charge abused wife of Nova Scotia mass killer. The RCMP actually wrote a rebuttal to this. December 8th. Let's keep track. Let's keep on motoring. There's lots more ties I could go through, but we won't now. So December 9th, the next day, the very next day, what happens? Well, you have the what's going on here? Copy, paste. Sorry if I'm boring anybody. Warrant dump. Getting busy. Busy. Now we got a warrant dump. I believe this was the warrant dump that unredacted the word minor, but I could be wrong. So this was the day that the warrants were dumped. Everybody's very busy over in that war room. You also had articles coming out about remember where the source of these things are coming from, who's saying what. Nova Scotia mass killer severely abused as young boy, according to court documents. Start going into other areas. Okay. Just giving you what I've come across. Well, Linda and RCMP Sarson had a reply to that, of course. I believe that this is kind of their publication, from what I can gather. Press release: RCMP charges survivor of gender violence and April massacre. Maybe at some point people might want to take a breath somewhere along the way to say, well, what's going on here? Or hold on a moment. I don't know. I do. Don't know about you all. Wellness Within, a registered nonprofit working for reproductive justice, prison abolition, and health equity. Response. Okay. Well, there was something else that happened that day too, I believe. Yes. Where's that window? Give me a moment, please. Where did I have it down here? Nope. Oh no. This is kind of when I want to turn the world on pause. Like not having something at my fingertips. Now remember this. December 10th. The car chase. Halifax.
Holy man, they got the cops on the ground and everything. Look, they flipped the car over. Look, they're beating them up. Film it. Holy yes, I do, Sean. Holy God.
Sean. Let's see here. That wasn't the one I was looking for. Where is it here? I did get a picture of it and it does have the URL. All right. get this to go big.
Holy shit!
Oh, seen that name before. Seen this name before. Sean. Okay. Seymour. Oh, video Pete Stevens. Joe Howard Drive, exit 0. Oh, I don't know. Did he make the video? Or did Sean DeWitt do it? I don't know. Very interesting timing. Could just be nothing. Moving along. Certainly put the RCMP, kind of took away from the warrants and Lisa being charged and things like that. And big federal bust. All kinds of crazy stuff. And Fury coming out with this articles that RCMP must be reviewed. Right, Nova? Okay. Could just be nothing. I don't know. Next day. The very next day. What happens here? Oh, shoot. I want to give you that. Can I go back? There we go. So you can all go and download it and see it. Just, it's good to have these things. I remember it floating up on the channel. I noticed all the videos disappeared. Did you notice that? There's nothing about what took place April 18th or 19th on a certain channel. Poof. Did a lot of hard work. I remember reaching out to him. He never responded to me ever at the beginning. I found that rather strange. Could just be me, though. Copy. Do you need to go outside? Nova, you've been so good. The inside story of how an RCMP dog handler shot Nova Scotia mass murderer. Publicity wasn't looking very good. It's the best to get stuff rolling out. This article disappeared, but there's the link for it. Again, just kind of some more positive stuff. Things weren't looking very good. War Room had, I believe, planned for that. But they're rather transparent. Take things away. Further. RCMP says Halifax car chase, part of ongoing federal drug investigation. Toronto Star. The major press outlets, they were all getting a lot of spin. It's kind of like that CTV thing. Do you remember when I showed you the CTV one and they showed you that little blurb about Lisa right after the, what was that again? Oh, right. The assault video of the black individual by the police. Oh, no. Sorry, he wasn't assaulted. Big outcry on that one, too. 30-second video and coming from a certain place. And then the whole video emerged from the same place later, a few days, which kind of took things off about Lisa. once again. Always a lot of distraction. You know, are we done? I don't know. I don't think so. Let's see here. I feel like I'm going in a bit of a time machine with this one, but here we go. Went back into this again, December 11th. Oh. Nancy Ross at Dalhousie. The need to reform criminal justice system drastically illustrated by the case of Circe Winter, who was arrested November 2019. Only 3 in 10 domestic violence. I'm sensing a theme. But call me crazy. Okay, good. I want to make sure I'm giving you the links. Now, 6 days later, what happens? Or sorry, my apologies. Those little bits and pieces, take me back to the place. I just file this stuff away in my head. I don't like hard drives and stuff generally. Bonging, yeah. Okay, so now we've got this. Drawing a lot of stuff, trying to get a lot of things through at the same time. Anybody want the link to that? I can give you that too. Seems to be a bunch of errors in it. Busy Christmas time. Everybody's having in the war room. Okay. So, you drop the article, you drop the cert thing, and, best drop something else. Updated. Inside story of how RCMP dog handler shot Nova Scotia mass murderer. Oh, there's Craig. This article was updated December 18th after a judge lifted a publication ban. Who's the judge? Would that be Halfpenny Macquarie? Not sure. Not sure what's going on. Got a lot of, what was this? I think it said heroes, and I'm not just taking away that anything here. I'm just simply laying out what's going on. Are you trying to? Is there some badness you're trying to cover up that you don't want to really address? I don't know. You want to start to deal with what's happening down at Irving Big Stop in a funny way. That takes us to things that are going to be more current down the line here, but we'll get there at some point. And there'll be more to come on the rest of it, of course. You can go. What do we got here? We got no global news. Detailed portrait emerges of gun acquisitions. Oh, Newsweek dropping misogyny articles. That's interesting. December 20th, you've got Halifax Today. Domestic violence often feels victims feel re-traumatized by police. I'm getting the feeling somebody's not going to be testifying. Do you remember when I said that? Although I wasn't taking note at all of what's going down. And I'm missing stuff for sure, because I'm just me and we're just a few, but collectively doing some damage. Jenga. I want to keep playing games. What happens the next day? Injustice collector. None of this has already been. I'm sensing that there's a lack of evidence still. What's going down? Pumping out a lot about stuff you have no proof of that you furnished. And after a year, almost and a half, you'd think by this point you'd have it. No? Instead, you're fighting about warrants, Sharpies, tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars, propaganda campaigns out the ass, every which angle you're utilizing, and you're still failing. Uh-oh. I won't get into any of the rest of it for now. Just a little something to wet your whistle with for now. And bring you up to speed on Nova. And maybe ask the questions about whose gun? Where's Heidi's gun? Not in the wheel on the floor, that's for sure. That I can see. Don't see a pointer on there, but I could be wrong. It's very fuzzy as always. Still waiting about the third gas station too. That seems to be noticeably absent, even though there's all kinds of proof. Haven't heard anything about it. 3 gas stations on, that ESP, how he's running on fumes in that gray Mazda. Anyway, I do hope it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. Thank you for bearing with me, the 38 people in here. I really do appreciate you all. Let's see if we can go through some comments. If she's not going to testify, we won't see Bergerman either. Don't know. Very strategic, I would say. And that's my understanding, but I could be wrong on the. There you go. I'm just glad we were talking about a long time ago. Certain people. Still more to talk about. Lots more. We'll get there. Forensics in Hawkesbury. I've heard this. Yeah. Not where the warrant hearings are. Leaf, judge, speaker. Leaf, commission. Okay. The CPJ.org article, Halifax Examiner's Tim Bousquet uncovering shooting pandemic. Pete never answered anything about, I don't know, the videos disappearing. Was there something about tapes? another day. The stickers on white cars. Video that has none, and all of a sudden does have some. Hard drives. I have to wonder what their job is. What many people's jobs are. Diversionary tactics, so 21st century, so transparent. No. Video skipping over Gaze River Road. Saw 2 of those. His jump cut road trips, yeah. There was another one. Did that too. Didn't want to answer me when I asked them about that. Still in the Discord. As are many. Somebody who was helping in the background quite a bit let me know that 10 months ago I was saying something about that. Be careful, careful, careful. It's a good quote. Keep hating her to death. Lisa would have been the only one killed. Well, reasons, logic, right? You think? That's generally my not experiences, but just understanding of cases over the years. Usually the person who is the intended victim gets killed, not all kinds of other people. They don't go into hiding and get sued and charged and require lie detectors, multiple interviews. Yes. Now, I'm not going tinfoily, but thank you to a person who sent me that. Really appreciate the people who are still hanging tough with me, because I understand that there's... But of course, I think, as people have communicated to me, they're seeing through a lot of garbage right now. The skipping of that video, thank you, because I miss so much and I'm not in the Discord very much at all. So I got an email. Thank you very much. And I did try to line it up. Now I have the pages open. Those of you who are familiar with it already, then please, disappearing Twitters and stories. On the 19th, there was a little thing that was kind of blipped out, and it was on CPAC, and I was rather, I've always relied upon CPAC to be pretty good about not editing, but there seemed to be some kind of error. Where is that? You guys know what I'm referring to? Is this it? Here's the, excuse me. I think this is it. So why don't we go here? Let's back it up a little bit.
Good afternoon. I'd like to just clarify something. I believe it was said that there are some Northwood residents who are in the same room as with a positive test as those who have a negative test. That's the
area quite well. The horror of that would have impacted everyone in that community, and those who are scared are still grieving. A way of life that they have known has been shattered to them. I was reaching out to them as I know all Nova Scotians are. Many of us grew up and live in small towns from one end of this province to the other, and listening to the news. That community is grieving. There's no question, and I wanted them to know that we were there for them.
Next, we'll go to David Jalla from SaltWire. Go ahead, David.
Okay, so there's the clipped version. Again, it's on CPAC. Go and grab it for yourself if you want. Maybe there was just some kind of a technical error with YouTube. I don't know. But then there's the one from CPAC, right? Let's hope it's not gone. As you're saying, that would be unfortunate. Oh my goodness, what is this? I don't know how I had missed that. Okay, anyway, it came out of order. My apologies. So let's go to here, CPAC. Okay, so this is the April 19th one, right? Same one. He's wearing the same getup. And well, why don't we go back to about what, 1640? Does that sound good? Oh my goodness, you're crawling around on the back of my chair.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Tina Tebow, and I will...
Families very appreciative of the amount of information they were getting, the timeliness of information. That may not be in all circumstances. Appreciate that in an event like this, sometimes things get missed. But overall, the communication seems to have been gone well, and it certainly is a focus of attention moving forward.
Next, we'll go to Mike from the Canadian Press.
Good afternoon. I'd like to just clarify something. I believe it was said that there are some Northwood residents who are in the same room as with a positive test as those who have a negative test. That's the case. How many, roughly? And is it possible, or how might it happen that everyone in Northwood would have their own room?
So I don't have a number of that. We're certainly, I know Northwood's working to minimize that within their.
So now we're talking about Northwood like we were before.
And the layout of their building, and we'll be able to do, as we said, as we get more of the recovered residents out. Clearly, the active plan is to move and bring known positives together and separate them from the rest of the facility. I don't have that exact number of today of how many would be in the same room.
Go ahead, Mike, with your follow-up.
Premier, I just want to clarify something. You said you're reaching out to those grieving the loss in the shootings in Port Vic. We don't know that. Are there deaths in this? And perhaps just elaborate on why what you meant by that, if possible. Thank you.
Sure. I know the area quite well. The horror of that would have impacted everyone in that community, and those who are scared are still grieving. A way of life that they have known has been shattered to them. I was reaching out to them as I know all Nova Scotians are. Many of us grew up and live in small towns from one end of this province to the other.
Okay, so what was missing there was I know the area quite well. I don't know. Maybe there was a technical error on YouTube side, kind of like 224 and 2. Lots of technical errors. Thank you, Discord, as always. Thank you. You guys are fantastic. Those playing excellent researchers. I really appreciate all the help that you guys do. I really do. And I know that the families do too. Because this is really tough stuff for them. And it's good for our communities too, right? Just as Tammy said, or Tara said, this is so much bigger. And as you can see, the vastness, at least in part, right? Don't want to hit anybody too heavy yet, but it's deep, and questions are valid to ask. And I think people should just keep asking, because there's nothing to be afraid of. Anyway, I do hope that you have a fantastic weekend. I don't know what's the weather like down there. Is it nice? We're still kind of getting heat wave a little bit. You know that. I'm not going to touch that. Stop chewing the carpet, please. Nova! Nova! I think that's a replacer on the carpet. Oh, well, she seems happy. That's important. Don't worry, be happy. All right. Thanks very much. Raining Sunday. Good as well. Show the dog. You want to see the dog again? Nova! Come here. Nova! Come here. She wants her stick. Any dog tips are greatly appreciated too. Anything. I can't remember all this from 18, I guess it's 18 years ago or something. And different personalities. They're different, eh? They're all different. She's very she loves to follow me around. Other guy, but he was unfixed, and so is she. But boys are a little different. They like to just run around when they're outside, pee on everything. Always looking for the girlfriends. She likes to just follow till there's a squirrel. Don't forget to take her out to pee. That's a great tip. It's a great tip. Yes. She hasn't quite mastered that one. I'm prepared for the longer haul. I didn't remember that it's like 6 months, eh? Until they oh, there you go. Oh, you like that? Till they're not doing that anymore. They got that one conquered, but everything takes time, doesn't it? Long string and a bell is all you need, and treats. Okay. I've heard the long string and a bell. What were your step? Oh, what step am I at? I don't know. Just taking her for walks and telling her she's a good girl. Tara would just be laughing at me. There's some guy last night who was laughing. I know. He's like, you have a very small dog. I'm like, it's okay. I'm good with her. She's cute. That's what you do. You're so cute-ish. Nova! Oh. What breed is she? She's miniature pinscher. I seem to have an affinity for min pins. Min pins. Maybe I'll buy a boy too. We'll see. And they can be friends. I think she does kind of miss my old guy a little bit, which is too bad, but life moves on, and he's in a better spot, so that's what I tell myself anyway. As long as I made the right decision, I feel okay. Can't ever be 100% confident on things, though, can you? All right. She's been wanting a ratter dog. Well, since the, my guy, he didn't have this little addition. This looks kind of like a rat. It's growing on me. It's different. Different is good. All right, take care, everybody. Oh, you always know. All of the families hopefully know, and all of you that that's what it's about. Just being good to everybody, and we'll get through this one. So if you do happen to have some spare change lying about, please help Nancy out. It would be greatly appreciated. I know. And she's a wonderful, wonderful lady. And even with certain topics which shan't be mentioned. Okay. God bless everybody. Be kind to yourself. That's good, great advice. Be kind to one another, please. And we'll see you soon. Got lots more to share. Have a great weekend. God bless. God bless the 23.